All right, hello and welcome everybody to today's workshop. I have a very special guest here today. We have an expert in these new SBA programs, the PPP, the EIDL programs that have just been causing chaos with small business owners. There's been a lot of people that have gotten a lot of money, a lot of people that have gotten more money than they should, aka Harvard, which is probably going to have to give their money back so we can help you guys out, the small business owners. And there's a lot of people that really try to get their stuff together and be prepared, but they got to the point where they were submitting paperwork and they didn't have things ready and they weren't fully ready, and then they got sent away and now the money was gone. Well, good news is they got more money approved as of yesterday, I believe. And I brought you here Claudia Shah, who is a lead business advisor with the SBDC, and she is an expert in this area. Her job is to really help businesses with that technical assistance, getting small business funding. And so she does multiple kinds of loans, but she has now had to gain a specialty in the PPP and EIDL loans. So Claudia, welcome to the workshop today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jason, for the invitation, and glad to be here. And I know we are all excited that we got more funds to see how we're going to use it. And if we are going to get it as a small business owner, it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, and you and I were discussing, it's like when we had set this up, this wasn't even for sure yet. So we were just like, well, in case it does get approved, we'll get people ready, right?
Exactly, exactly. And that's the idea right now, too, is like you never know. The funds are approved, but we still need to put all the paperwork together because even though they are approved, they're not there yet. So
Right.
this is the time, and you are in the right time to get things ready for being ready to go.
Okay, great. So if you're a small business owner watching this today, you definitely want to be taking some notes. Bookmark this video because Claudia's gonna have some really good stuff to share with you. Claudia, there's a lot of people that are very frustrated with this program. Like, would you say that overall it's been a success? And if not, what do you think has been some of the main roadblocks to people being successful with getting their PPP funding?
I think the main concern or the important thing right now is that small business owners are the ones who have been suffering the most with the situation, and they are not getting the funds. So the second round, that's the good thing that the government did allocate 60 billion to go towards community banks and credit unions and those small banks. So maybe that way the small business owner can get these funds. So yes, there have been people who have getting the funds, not that many from the small business community, but with this second round, we're hoping that those small business owners can access to this. And I'm sorry, I forgot to put this in silent.
Okay.
So so that's the problem that I think that our small business owners have not been able to get access to those funds. So
hmm So
with the second round, we are hoping that yes. So these are good news, and we want to make sure that everybody knows the information, and that's why we want them to rely on us as the SBDC advisors for us to guide them in the right direction.
exactly. That's why I want to bring you here today to make sure people aren't making mistakes. So, from what I'm seeing, okay, and this is just kind of on the outside, I don't work at a bank, but what I'm seeing is a couple reasons why people didn't get funding. First reason, the big banks were overwhelmed, and so they only were taking clients that already had accounts established with them for appointments. And the second thing I saw is most people don't know much about community banks and how to find a community bank and maybe help them, or a credit union, or even a nonprofit potentially that actually does this type of things, or SBA approved. And the third thing I'm seeing is small business owners just really didn't have their paperwork together. I mean, they just weren't organized. They didn't have the documents they needed. And so I'm seeing more of that than I am seeing the banks not being able to help. But I'm just on the outside. What are you seeing from your side as far as the people that did not get funding in the first round? What mistakes were, or what pitfalls were they making before getting their funding?
You're absolutely right with all those points, and yes, our small business owners not being ready and prepared with their financials is a big issue, and that's why we are asking them to get ready for this second round. But I think anyway, those bankers or the big banks, yes, they were just catering to their existing clients and to those clients who had their financials in a better stage than the small business owner who still bank with them. So I think that was, and this is all speculation because of course it's not out in the open and they don't let us know. But I think if we can speculate this way, that would be also my guess. It will be that our small business owners were not, they didn't have like a good financial rapport with them, with those banks. So that's why maybe they couldn't have access to the funds. The paperwork is not that difficult to get. Mm-hmm. But yes, because you're a small business owner, you're like a do-it-all. And you rely a lot on your accountant or your tax preparer, and that's why maybe you didn't have the numbers ready, you hadn't paid your taxes for last year, so there were still like a lot of things still in the pending mode. But I hope that since the funds were out a week or two ago, from there, they have been able to get ready and prepare for it. And if they are not, I suggest them to get that done really ASAP, because that's when maybe they open the portals on Friday, maybe they open the portals on Saturday or Monday. So we need to be ready with all our paperwork.
Okay. So neither you or I can fix the banks, right? Neither you or I can fix the government. But we can help the small business owner fix themselves and get their things in order, and then know really maybe some good questions to ask, what the process looks like, and maybe even what loan they should be applying for. So I think that's what you're going to be covering with us today, right?
Yes, absolutely, Jason. So let me tell you a little bit about who we are, so people will know also why the SBDC and why are we here in this picture. So the SBDC stands for the Small Business Development Center, and we are part of the SBA. We have funds from the SBA, and in California, we have funds from the governor's office, from GoBiz. And both funds help us provide these free services to our community. So we offer free services for small business owners, 500 or less employees. And what we do is we help them with starting their businesses, licenses and permits, social media marketing, funds, where to apply and get access to capital, government contracting, import, export, whatever you can think about a business and how we can help them. So think of us as a free coach and a free advisor. We also offer a lot of workshops. We have workshops online, of course, right now. And we are all over the United States. In LA County, we have 9 offices. One of the offices is Spanish speaking. The rest of the offices have all the other languages, English, of course. And we are all over LA County, Ventura, and Santa Barbara. And what we do is we will meet one-on-one with the business owner to talk about their specific needs. Because yes, I'm going to talk generic today, and I'll tell you about the PPP loans and how it works and what you need. But individually, you as a business owner, you have your own needs that may differ from the other business owners. So that's why we meet one-on-one with you right now virtually with Zoom meetings, and we will talk about your needs, how we can help you, how to structure, if you need a plan, if you need a different model, whatever it is, in order for you to progress. And it can be as many meetings as you want, and it can last, like, for example, we have a lot of clients who have been with us for years because they started with us, then we don't have any contact, and then all of a sudden they need something and they call us back. You can still do that. You are still in the system and you can still get our help. So like my boss says, we were before the pandemic, we're here with the pandemic, we'll be later on here to help you too. So
excellent. So at the end of our Claudia's presentation, we'll make sure we get some information about that, since you have nationwide offices that can help out, and make sure that gets posted as well. So
yeah, sure.
If you're ready, I'll be happy to hand over the reins to you so that you can begin presenting. And
perfect.
Right.
I am going to share my screen.
Okay, let's see here.
Let me see if you can see it.
I am not seeing your screen here. Oh, let me see. Here we go. All right, now we're good. Now we're good. Yeah. You might want to.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
just get it centered on the screen and we should be good to go.
okay, perfect. Okay, so I am going to talk mainly about the PPP program, okay? Because this is the one who got the new funds. So this is the one that we really want to focus right now our attention on. So the PPP is for the payroll and exclusively for the payroll. So whenever you have employees that are on your payroll and they are being affected by the COVID-19, that's when you want to apply for this program. You can also include your mortgage. You can also include your utilities into this program, okay? What is the advantage of the program? The program is that it will give you up to $10 million in loan, and you can get on, like the interest rate is only 1%. So what happens is that if I use the money mainly for payroll during the first 8 weeks after they give me the money, those 8 weeks will be forgiven. That means I don't have to pay that money that I invested. So let's say, for example, if I was given $5 million for my loan, and from those $5 million during the first 8 weeks, I used 3 millions towards payroll, those 3 millions are forgiven. The other 2 million, I will pay it in 2 years at 1% of interest, and I don't start paying for those interests only after 6 months later after I got the money. So that's what the PPP program is. So it's great. It's for payroll, and it can be forgiven if I use it in the first 8 weeks for payroll purposes. Okay. Okay. So what are the documentations that you need? So the documents are going to depend on your financial institution. So it depends on which financial institution you're using. They can ask you for certain documentations. But there is only one document that it is standard, and it's this one. So this is the standard document, okay? What is the standard documentation that is going to ask you? It's going to ask you, what are you? Are you a nonprofit? Are you self-employed? So what is your type of business? Where is the name? Where are you located? Like all the basic questions. But it also asks you, what are the purposes of your loan? Are you going to pay payroll plus mortgage plus utilities? Or what you're using this money for? So this is the form that we normally will send you in order for you to be ready. And then you're going to call your financial institution to see what else do you need to apply. Okay? So normally it will be through authorized SBA lenders. There is a website also that you can go into the website of the SBA and find a lender that is closer to you. We were talking at the beginning of the conversation about these funds being also given to small community bankers and to credit unions. So there is a list that you can go and do that. My suggestion is when you do that, call them. Call them and ask them if they are an SBA approved lender and if they are going to be participating in the PPP program. If they say yes, ask them what you need to do in order for you to be able to apply to their financial institution. We do have 1 or 2 financial institutions that till this day, they still accepting applications. So when the other financial institutions have stopped giving loans, we are still recommending these other ones because they were still accepting, even though there was not money, they didn't have the money, they were still accepting. So right now they have a big waiting list. And that's why we wanted our clients to be calling us, because then they would have known about this information and they could have applied. So you're still on time to apply until they say again no. Hopefully they are already in the waiting list. So that's a good thing. And okay, when you have multiple businesses, yes, you can apply, and you have to apply for each business individually. So if I have 2 or 3 different businesses, my 2 or 3 different businesses, they have their own rents, they have their own payroll, they have their own thing. So you have to apply. That doesn't mean that you also have to apply to 3 or 4 or 5 financial institutions. Don't do that, because what happens is that because this goes through the SBA, when you apply to 3 and 4 financial institutions at the same time, is going to go to the SBA, and the SBA is going to say, wait a minute, but Claudia has a loan application here with this bank and with this other credit union and with this other bank. Or she decides what she wants to do, or I will deny all 3 of those, and then you will be without money. So before that happens, you need to withdraw one of the applications if you already started doing that, because some people have done it. And some people already called us saying, oh my God, I applied for 2 financial institutions, and now both of them are telling me that they are not going to accept it. And what we have suggested is go back to one of them ASAP and just tell them, I will withdraw with you, and that's it. Or you need to see how you can do this. So that's what the PPP is about. So it's about your payroll. It's your payroll protection. Yes, you can apply if you're sole proprietorship, you're by yourself, you're an independent contractors. Yes, you can apply as long as you see that your income is being affected because of COVID-19. So this is a disaster loan because of COVID-19. That's what we need to understand too. The other loan, because I know people still wants to know a little bit about the EIDL, even though right now they don't have funds for this one. This is the first one who came before the PPP. This one, you could also use some of the portion of the loan to pay for payroll. And that was the portion that was forgiven. That was the famous or infamous up to $10,000 that everybody was talking about. It was towards payroll. So what this loan is it was up to $2 million. The portal is closed, but some people have been able to get in, because it seems to be that the SBA may open it here and there just to get more applications. Right now is not. But anyway, you can also have your expenses for insurance or mortgage, interest, utilities, and payroll. And this loan, you have up to 30 years to pay back. You had 1 year free of interest payments. And the only portion that was forgivable was the one that was towards payroll. So if you got the $10,000 advance, the up to $10,000 advance, and you use it for payroll, that portion was going to be forgivable unless you have both loans, and then only one of the loans is forgivable. For example, if you already got the EIDL, the advance, and you got the PPP, you could not use the money for the EIDL. You cannot use it towards payroll because you already have the PPP for payroll. So that's why you cannot double dip, in other words. What else? Both were for 500 employees or less, or they are for 500 employees and less. Both you can apply as a solopreneur, so as a sole proprietorship. And you could apply as an independent contractor for that. Your loan for EIDL needs to start with a 3, the confirmation number. Super important that you have that confirmation number. Without the confirmation number, you cannot find the status of your loan. This loan is directly with the SBA. The other loan, the PPP, is directly with your lender, with your financial institution. So that was the big difference too. So this loan that is directly with the SBA, you can find the status of it with your confirmation number that should start with a 3. And why am I saying that? Because people who apply before March 30th, they got a confirmation number that started with a 2. And those loans or those applications were not valid, and they had to reapply. So I hope people did learn and understand that. All this information, we have been sharing it in our social media platform, Facebook. because we understand that there is information everywhere. So in order for you not to go to all these places and getting misinformation here and there, that's why we want people to just go one or two places. And the one place for us is our Facebook page that is called Centro de Negocios SBDC. And or SBDC East LA. You can find it also like that. And we have been posting that. We post what the grant for Facebook that it started today. We post about the IRS information. So we have been posting and putting videos and putting all this explanation. We have a video on how to fill out the PPP application as well, that we just saw it here. So we have a video on how to put your numbers for the application. Let me go back to the application. Like how to fill out the portions here, how to fill out these yes or no questions. They're pretty simple, but believe me, some people don't even have this information ready. So that's why it's good to have it, and more because you haven't done maybe your taxes for 2019, and because the IRS already said, okay, you can present your taxes in July 15, a lot of people decided, okay, why not just take advantage of that and wait? And because you're waiting, you don't have your numbers up to date. And for this information, you do have to have your numbers up to date.
Wait, so Claudia, can I ask you a question on that?
Sure.
So if people, because a lot of people decided not to file their taxes this year because you can delay, like you mentioned, so that they can get their stimulus check, right, of the full $1,200 per person. So if you haven't filed your taxes yet for 19, then you're not prepared to apply for a PPP loan at this point.
You are prepared in the sense that you can show with your balance sheet and your income statements, you can show your 2019, even though you haven't paid your taxes.
Okay.
So you can still do it because you have to show, like it says here, you have to show your monthly payroll average. So you will show it with your financial statements. So that's the good thing. But some people don't even have it. They haven't even talked to their accountant to have everything up to December done. Mm-hmm. So that's why they should do it. And the stimulus check, you will still get it, even though you didn't pay for 2019, but you will get it based on 2018. So that's the only difference. But sorry. But yes, going back to this, you can still apply, but you have to have your financials in order. And that's why a lot of people don't. And a lot of people also don't have 2020. And you need to show a little bit on how 2020 was also being affected from what it was 2019, because I need to show somehow that yes, my income is being affected, my payroll is being affected. I had 5 employees and now I only have 1, or I don't have any because I had to lay them off. And the idea with this stimulus package also is that for you to keep your employees. So what they want to do is, because you used to have 5 employees, they want you to bring them back and keep them on payroll and see how you can keep on working so we don't affect our economy and it's not that big of an impact. So that's the main reason also for this stimulus package, is for you to keep the workforce open and on.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's about this paperwork. So this is the main paperwork and page that you have to have filled out before you call your financial institution and ask them, what else do I need? And like I said, each financial institution is different and may ask you an array of papers because that's the way they proceed for this type of loans. They have to go back to the SBA and say, okay, SBA, I need to fund this person who wants this amount. They are letting you take up to $100,000 per employee and multiply it 2.5 times that amount in order for you to get a loan amount. So that means you can have up to $250,000 per employee if they have more than 100,000. So what else can I explain you about this? There are other loans programs. The city of LA has one. It's only for the city businesses, and it's a loan process. It's a regular loan process for them. So you do have to show taxes You do have to show business account statements. You have to have your balance and your income statements, and you may have to provide projections. What this means is that in any case, you should have numbers for your 2019, and you should have numbers at least up to February of 2020. And if you can March, that will be awesome. Why? Because it will really show all the institutions how you are being affected with COVID. What they will do is they will compare January, February, March 2019 with January, February, March 2020. And that's how they are going to know, yes, this business was affected and how it was affected.
Okay. So,
okay.
Yeah, just to make things kind of real step by step, where do they go
Yes.
to get this form?
Okay, so this form can be found on the internet under the SBA, or you can call us and you can tell us, here is, I want to do this, and what should I do? And then I can give you also the information of the banks that you can apply right now for this. Let me try to go here and let me show you the place. So this is the place with the SBA where people can go and find the financial institution.
Okay, so sba.gov/paycheck protection/find, and you can find eligible lenders there. Perfect.
Exactly. So what they will do here is they type their zip code and they do a search, and the financial institutions that are approved by the SBA will come here. Of course, you have big banks like Bank of America, but you also have the community banks, One West Bank, you have East West Bank. Some of these banks are only accepting their own clients first. But like I said, we have, for example, Landustry, who is accepting the non-clients as well. So that's why it's good if they call us so we can guide them a little bit better. But these are like community banks, Pacific Premier. You have the Bank of California. You have Cathay Bank. So that's why we want the business owners also to go here so they can get to know a little bit different financial institutions. There is a credit union, East Central Credit Union. So all this are approved by the SBA. Why am I saying this over and over also? Because I have seen a lot of our clients being affected by the predator lenders. So be very careful. Right now, all these predator lenders are coming saying, oh, yeah, I can give you, I know the PPP program. We have money, we have funds, come with us. We'll do it for you. And we have seen a lot of our businesses being hurt by this.
Right.
So that's why I want everybody to be very careful with that. This is the main page for the SBA. So let me just put it again out here. So this is the main page for the SBA where they can find all the loans. And here are the programs and the protections. One of the things that, and I don't want to confuse people right now, but one of the things that the SBA is doing, if whatever existing loans you have right now from the past, if they were a 7A or a 504, they are forgiving you like 6 months of payment, but you have to apply for that. But that's for different organizations who already have existing loans.
Okay.
Existing SBA loans. But this one is also a very good page to have, the SBA.gov funding programs. Because it gives you all this. And like I said, the EIDL, because right now it's not anymore accepting applications. They will have it here, but you cannot apply.
Okay.
So it says here is unable to accept new applications at this time. They are processing all the applications, and what we hope is as soon as they can finish doing all these applications, they will have numbers to say, okay, yes, we can open, or yes, we can have more funds. So go ahead and apply. And once that happens, we want our clients to be ready. So again, we already have the 5A form and the form where you can just fill it out, have it ready. As soon as the portal opens, you can just transcribe whatever you have on paper and put it online.
Okay, great.
Okay. So I think these are the two main programs, Jason, that we wanted to focus today. I don't want to confuse everybody with so many things that are out there. And that's why what I'm doing is I'm just sending them to our Facebook page. We're putting a lot of information there, a lot of programs there, like the program that the Chamber had earlier this week. That, of course, those are programs that comes and goes in less than 5-10 minutes. No exaggeration, 5-10 minutes. Portals open and like in 5 minutes, they're shut down because they get overloaded. So what we are trying to do is giving you the information ahead of time. You can prepare your numbers and then just submit it. Everybody is going to ask you almost the same things, meaning your balance sheet from last year. So you need to know your sales, how much they were, how much they're going to be affected this year, how much were your expenses, how much was your payroll. So you should know those basic numbers in order for you to be ready to answer this question. Also, you need to be ready to know what type of entity you have. A lot of our small business owners sometimes don't know if they're a C Corp, S Corp, LLC. Those are different type of corporations, and it does matter, and it does make a difference. So you need to know those. So those are little things here and there. And one of my suggestions, not to get off track, but to suggest to our small business owners, is to also prepare to see how they are going to come back in business. So if your business has been affected where you are working maybe 70% or 50% or maybe not at all, I want to invite everybody to start thinking about how you're going to transition into the workforce again, how you're going to bring your business back. Because now is going to be what everybody's starting to call a new normal. It's not going to be the same way that we were before. It's going to be different. The way we interact with each other is going to be different. The way we sit in the social gatherings or in the big places is going to be different. So I want to invite your audience to think about that. How am I going to transition into this new life? How am I going to start announcing it to my employees, my suppliers, my clients, my everything that are there, to tell them this is the way we're going to reintegrate to the society and to the community and to start working again. So
that's actually a really good point you bring up. Because I mean, luckily, my firm has been mostly virtual for the last few years, so it hasn't really affected too much as far as how we're working with clients. But a lot of businesses, especially these small, as I say, the mom and pop businesses, the restaurants, the dentists, the chiropractors, the people that basically have to meet with people to do their job, it's going to change. And so I think it's a really good point you brought up is why not start communicating that now and putting a plan in place now, so when things open up, you're not sitting there trying to figure it all out.
Exactly. That it doesn't take us again by surprise like this pandemia did to all of us, because it took us by surprise. A lot of people were able to react ASAP. A lot of people were still in the shocking mode. And a lot of people still are trying to figure out how to do this and how they're going to get out of this. So I think this is the time for us to do that. As small business owners, we just get so swamped by so many little things and details that I think this is the time for us to breathe a little bit and say, okay, let me plan and see how I'm going to do this. If I get this PPP program, it's not free. I still have to pay a 1% interest. I still will have a loan that I need to pay in 2 years. So I need to plan for that money too. And I need to do my financial projections for that money. So I don't want people to forget about that. There's still a loan. You're still going to owe this money. So you need to still have it in your financials how you're going to pay it back. You still need to have in your financials the mortgage that maybe you are not paying in this month. All the things that you say, I will pay it later, you still have to pay it. They are not forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
So be careful with those things.
Oh, absolutely.
Because those things are going to affect your credit score, is going to affect your financials, is going to affect your cash flow. So if you have those type of situations right now where you're saying, hey, I am not going to pay my mortgage right now and I will pay it in 3 months, remember that those 3 months that you didn't pay for, you either need to negotiate it right now how you're going to pay it when you come back, or you're going to have to pay it all in one lump sum. And I don't think you're going to be able to do that. So make sure that you guys are talking with your landlord, with your providers, with your suppliers, because you also maybe owe all the supplies that they have been giving you, things like that. So try to think about all those things. So that's part of what we do at the SBDC, is to sit with you and to see how we can help you and guide you to make sure that you know how to approach this situation. And over here, I have our information just so I can share it with everybody. So make sure that you know what you are signing up for when you say, I'm not going to pay for this, or I'm not going to do it. So I have here important information like our website. Oh, sorry. Our website is smallbizla.org. And over there, every day at 3 o'clock, we also have SBA loans webinars where people can ask questions. We normally try to invite an SBA representative, and they come and they talk about it. And in Spanish, we're doing it Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, where we also talk about the SBA loans. But every day at 3, we are having a webinar about this.
Okay,
All
great.
about this.
Do you have this slide in English by chance? Or I mean, maybe people can figure it out, but some of
I know. No,
it's
this is the one that I had handy. Sorry.
no problem. Well, we'll
But yeah, it's just our website. This is our Facebook page, our website, our phone number. And this is to register to become a client with us.
okay. I'll make sure all the things get posted in the comments so people can have them.
I'll try to look for the slide in English and maybe email it to you. Sorry, I didn't have it up
No
for
problem.
that.
No problem. Okay, great. Is there anything else you wanted to share from here?
No. I don't know if you have questions, if you have any doubts or things that you think that your audience may want to know.
There is one question. Is how are we doing with your camera to get you back on camera?
Okay, to get me back on camera, I need to stop sharing. Okay, I stop sharing, and then we need to do this again.
For our friends watching at home, we, dealing with technology, doing this stuff virtually doesn't always operate the way you want it to operate. So, if it's not going to work, we'll just talk,
Unfortunately, it's saying that because I was sharing the screen. Okay, so that's why it doesn't allow me to, but it tells me that now I am live, supposedly.
Okay, there we go. Now you're back. Okay, now we are in business. Okay. It's just one of those things. It's technology. If we had a professional crew on the side, that'd be nice. We had a nice studio, but we're doing this from our offices, so it's okay. We'll make it work.
Exactly. It's okay. That's what I tell everybody. It's fine. And that's why I want also our small employers to do it. It's like our small business owner. It doesn't matter. Make mistakes. Do it. We're all in the same boat. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
Nobody's going to criticize you and say, oh my God, these people don't know how to use all this.
No, yeah. Most of the people that watch my workshops are the nicest people, so they won't get too mad. They'll just skip forward later when I have to skip it. It's fine.
Okay.
So we do have we have one question that was posted here that I want to make sure we address. So the question is, what information do you have to provide to show what went to payroll and what went to utilities, and who do you provide that to?
Okay. So your financial institution where you go and ask for the loan is going to ask you for that. So when you have your balance sheet and your income statement, that's provided or either by your software I don't know if you have QuickBooks or you do this in Excel or you have your accountant, they will provide you with that. It's a balance sheet and it's an income statement for the year of 2019. And that's where it shows how much you spend on these different items. It will be itemized and it will tell you how much you did. Also, with your payroll, remember you have been putting money into EDD. So every 3 months, you have to pay taxes for payroll. So you do have also those informations in somewhere. You have it filed. Your accountant should have it, or again, you should have it in your software. And that's where you give that information, or that's where the information comes from, and you will give it to your financial institution.
Okay, great. So
We did, sorry, Jason, before I forget, we didn't talk about EDD. These are loans. Again, these two programs that we saw with the SBA are loans, but you still have the EDD, that is the employment department that we have here, and you can still file for unemployment. The idea with the EIDL and PPP is for you to keep on in business and keep the workforce. But there are cases that is impossible for our business owners to keep this going. So if that's your case and you really have to file for unemployment, by all means, EDD has programs for unemployment, and they are giving unemployment. So you have to do that too if you have to.
Okay, that's great. We had another question come in here.
Mm-hmm.
If you apply with one lender and the loan does not get approved, would you recommend going to another lender or just leave it as it is?
No, go to another lender if you don't get approved. But don't do it parallel. But yeah, if you don't get approved, definitely go to another lender. Go to another lender, and again, reach out to us, and we will give you 2 or 3 names that you can maybe go and approach and see if things will work better.
Yeah, because these loans are going through the lending institution, so it has to meet that particular institution's standards where another one may be able to get the loan done, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
that's great. And then I have a question on the EIDL advance and then combining that with like a PPP loan. Because a lot of people just did the EIDL because they're like, hey, free money, right? And they're just, applied for that. But maybe the EIDL loan's not the right loan for them. They need the PPP loan. How does it work if they've already gotten the advance? Maybe they haven't applied for an EIDL loan yet, but they want to get a PPP loan to fund what we talked about today. How would that work?
Okay. Okay. So if they did the EIDL, the EIDL, if they did the EIDL loan and they got the advance was to up to $10,000. So it's not that much. But if they had already used it towards payroll, that portion is forgiven. Okay. The rest of the portion, it becomes a loan. If you do a PPP, then make sure that whatever you use from this day on, it is used for payroll. And before the 8 weeks are over, you use it for payroll, so those will be forgiven. But then you will be having 2 loans. You have the EIDL and you have the PPP. The advantage with the EIDL is that you can take it back to the SBA at any time without paying any penalty. And you can take it back within the first 12 months without paying any interest. So if you want to do that because you got the PPP loan and you want to better have the PPP instead of the EIDL, go ahead and return the money from the EIDL. That would be my suggestion if you really don't want it.
So, but I'm just talking about only the advance portion, right? You know that it's basically $1,000 per employee people got. Like, do they really need to return that to apply for the PPP, or would the forgivable amount from the PPP just be reduced by what they got forgiven from the EIDL?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the amount that they get from the PPP will be reduced from that. So yeah.
Okay.
So that's yeah. So if it's only the advance was nothing, it was $1,000. So yes, you can just get it reduced that way.
Yeah, it sounded like it'd be a lot bigger, but turned out to be a lot smaller than people expected if you had a small team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and so here's what I'm struggling with a little bit advising some people, and I'm kind of leaning more to the side of caution. So some people are saying, well, I don't really know what the impact's going to be yet on my business. I don't know if I really need to take a loan, excuse me, to cover that long term. But if I don't take it, am I going to be able to get it later when I find out if I do need it in the next month or two? my thought is the answer is probably no, they can't get it later. But since they can pay it back within 12 months, if you think you're going to need it, you might as well just apply. And worst case scenario, you just give it back. But if things do have a downturn, like it may be for certain industries, at least they're prepared and have that aside, and whether they need it or not. That's my thought. What's your thought on that?
I love that. And that's exactly what we tell our clients too, is apply, no matter what, apply for the loan. And once you apply for the loan, then if you decide not to, just give it back. Don't use it. Don't use it, then you won't pay any interest. Nobody is asking you for any penalty for not payment. So take advantage of it if you already did. If you have not applied for the loan because you're still thinking about it, just remember funds are going and running out really fast. So if you don't apply right now, you may not apply later. Maybe later there won't be funds there. So I wouldn't encourage them to do that, not to wait later. Okay. One of the things also, Jason, is why not do like a projection, more or less, to see if I really will need it or not. I know it's hard to predict the future, but I still have my 2019 that I can compare with my 2020. And by now, I should know more or less how am I going to be for the rest of this year, how much I can struggle or not. Yeah. So that will tell me I definitely should go ahead and apply and have that money just in case, or that should tell me, it's okay, I can go buy. Because remember, there are a lot of other industries or businesses who are not struggling and they are really thriving at this time. Mm-hmm. So they don't need the money.
Right.
And that's good.
So I have a lot of, friends and colleagues and clients that are kind of the solo entrepreneur. They're the main person in their business. They might have one or two or three contractors to help them out with things, but they're not on payroll necessarily because they're not in California. Maybe California's crazier. Everyone has to go on payroll. I don't like it, but it's what it is. But what would you, and then the other thing with that is some of these folks, like maybe they were just getting their business up and running last year, but now in 2020, things were going better. But if you compare it to last year, it looks really good. But in reality, they're seeing a dip, but the numbers don't show that year over year because there might be a newer coach or consultant. How would you recommend they approach or to think about this situation?
I will still see how my 2020 was going to be good and better. And because of the situation is again going to be down, how much down and how is it going to be behaving for the rest of up to maybe July or August? And again, if we think about the future, like how is my future with the business going to be like, or how am I going to go back and transition back into the reality later on? That will also help me envision this. So yes, you're right. There are a lot of new businesses. So I don't have a point to compare to. So then let's say if I thought that I was doing well, can my business still do well once we go back to that new normal? Or if not, how am I going to transition little by little to be back to that? And if you're a solopreneur, you can still apply for the PPP as a solopreneur or as an independent, a sole proprietorship, sorry. And all these other people who used to work for you, they should do the same, or they should go to their unemployment agencies and apply for unemployment, either or. But I will look at more that way. How the 2 or 3 first months of this year were doing really well for me. And now with this situation, they're going to go down. If I go back in August, are they going to look the same as in January or February? What do I need to do in order to make my business be there and go there to that good position that it used to have? What was making and gearing that to happen?
Okay, that's great. One thing I just was wondering about, I haven't read on yet, but anytime I hear government, backed type loans, I get a little bit nervous because I think of student loans, right? And student loans are non-bankruptable basically in almost any case, right? So have you heard any details that, let's say someone had a business, they thought it was, thought they can, if they got a loan, they would be okay, they can ride out this wave. But then maybe it was like a restaurant and people just aren't coming in anymore and the takeout isn't what you expected it to be. And maybe you have to close your business within the next 6 to 9 months because you can't make it. Are these loans going to be forgivable in something like a Chapter 11 bankruptcy, or are they going to be like a student loan where no matter what you do, you can't get rid of them if you did, somehow go out of business and it didn't work out.
To be honest with you, I don't know that, Jason. I think that will be one of the questions that we can ask to the SBA to see how this is going to work. I think this is going to be a loan. It's going to be a loan that, yes, is going to be a part of the 7A SBA, so it's not forgivable. Is going to be a loan that you will have to pay, and it will be part of any financial situation that you have. So yes, it is a loan.
Okay. Yeah, that's just something I was wondering because I think the banks, it sounded like they were having hesitation because it sounded like the banks were going to have to basically deal with if people didn't pay at some point. And so they were hesitant to fund these loans or put people through the process until they had a clear understanding of that. But
remember that the first portion of it, the 8 weeks of it, if it's towards payroll, yes, it is forgivable.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a lot of money that they are giving you
Mm-hmm.
for you to be forgiven of. So of course, you as a financial institution is like, oh my God, I'm giving you $10 million right now in a loan. And from those 10 millions, whatever you use, if you use 75% of that loan towards payroll in the first 8 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
I won't be able to get any interest from you.
Right.
So yes, if you look at it as a business, the financial institutions will be hesitant to this. I don't know up to what point tomorrow the things will change and they will say, you know what, everybody who got a PPP, forget it. You don't pay me. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
I really,
I think right
I don't know.
now,
We never knew that we would be in this situation either. So I really don't know.
yeah, again, these are just things I haven't seen. So I thought maybe you've heard something on the inside because I read up on it. I try to stay on top of it, but I know every day things are coming out. And my big focus is really, retirement investments and that type of stuff. So I have a lot of work there to keep up on. So I wanted to bring you on. So I really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge. Do you want to give you shared some of the websites. Is there anything else that you want to tell people that maybe are not local to LA? Because we do have probably a nationwide, audience watching this that are not local to LA that you would recommend they would do if they need some help with doing a projection, applying for the loan, or someone to talk to with the SBDC. How would they find out about that?
Yeah, so they can go to americassbdc.org, americassbdc.org, and with americassbdc.org, they can put a location and they can look for the SBDC closest to them. We are all for free. All of us has the same motto, is free advising. Just give them a call and see how they can guide you and give you some advice on which will be the best way, because you're right. California is different from all the other states, and maybe the programs that we have are not the same as them. EDD is not the same here as the other places, so unemployment varies from state to state. So yes. Okay. So that would be the best thing. Is go americassbdc.org. The other one is SBA, just sba.gov. And if you go to resources from the SBA to find resources, they will give you a list. If you put the zip code, they give you a list of all the free resources entities like ours that will help them. Because the SBA finance some other entities like the Women's Business Centers, CORE. So they have other programs too.
Okay, great. And anytime people hear, "Oh, it's free," they always get cautious, right? Even though I know you guys are good institution to work with, we're very familiar with you, very trustworthy. But this really is not somewhere they're trying to sell you a product. They get outside funding to help small business, and that's what their job is. And your funding depends on you being successful with small businesses and what you're doing in your program. So my wife runs a nonprofit. We're very familiar. So even if people are free, there's no gotcha. There's no back end type thing. You don't have to worry about that. I just want to make sure we're clear, because in the financial world, it's anytime you hear free, it's usually a bad deal, to be honest.
And that's a perfect point. Thank you, Jason. Yes, for clarifying that. And people do ask me like, what is in it for you? And for me, what it is that funds that we get from the SBA at the end of the year, I don't disclose Jason made this amount or Jason did this, but I have a bucket that I say I help 150 business owners where they got access to capital for this amount of $1 million, and they created this amount of businesses or jobs. And what the SBA says is like, okay, here is your new fund for the next of the 2 3 years, coming years, or whatever not. So that's what it is in for us, because the SBA just wants to help grow the economy, and the way they can do it is through entities like ours in order to help them. So
Perfect. And before we wrap up, we have one more question get posted. Are you okay for one more question?
yeah, sure, go for it.
The question is the iBank California loan or iBank CA loan the same as the PPP loan?
iBank is just part of another financial resource. So iBank is different, and is not the same as PPP, but it is another loan program, and they have their own requisites to fill out.
Okay.
So it's another program that they created, but it's not PPP.
Okay, so similar to what you mentioned about the programs that are coming out every day that are there for 10 minutes and then they go away, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I want to say thank you so much for your time. Excellent information. And I just want to provide a resource here for people that if they need help with this stuff, because I just don't personally have the time to be helping everybody with it. This is a wonderful resource. If you're a coach, consultant, small business owner, please reach out to the SBDC. Even if maybe this is not what you need right now, if you need help with your business, your finances, growing your business over time, they're just a wonderful resource, because we all need a business coach to see what we're not seeing sometimes. And SBDC can do that. And I might actually reach out myself, just to have you guys poke through all my stuff to see if I can make some improvements. But thank you again so much. And is there anything else you want to wrap up with before we head out today?
No, Jason, just to say thank you so much for the invite. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, because with the funds that we have, we cannot do advertising. It's only for counseling. So the advertising or this type of exposure, we just get it through institution like yours. So thank you so much for the support. And just to make sure to let everybody know, you are not alone. Here we are. We are here to help you. We are here to support you. Please reach out, and we will try to figure this together.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Hopefully people watching this enjoy this. If you have any follow-up questions, go ahead and put them in the comments, and I'll send those over to Claudia for you. But check out her website, smallbizla.org, and she'll be happy to help. Have a great day, folks, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.